While the best and most industrious artists were labouring by the light of Giotto and his followers to give the world examples of such power as the benignity of their stars and the varied character of their fantasies enabled them to command. And while desirous of imitating the perfection of nature by the excellence of art, they were struggling to attain that high comprehension which many call intelligence, and were universally toiling, but for the most part in vain. The ruler of heaven was pleased to turn the eyes of his clemency towards earth, and perceiving the fruitlessness of so many labours, the ardent studies pursued without any result, and the presumptuous self-sufficiency of men, which is farther from truth than is darkness from light, he resolved, by way of delivering us from such great errors, to send to the world a spirit endowed with universality of power in each art and in every profession, one capable of showing by himself alone what is the perfection of art in the sketch, the outline, the shadows, or the lights, one who could give relief to paintings and with an upright judgment could operate as perfectly in sculpture, nay, who was so highly accomplished in architecture also that he was able to render our habitation secure and commodious, healthy and cheerful, well proportioned and enriched with the varied ornaments of art. The Almighty Creator was also pleased to accompany the above with the comprehension of true philosophy and the adornment of graceful poesy, to the end that the world might select and admire in him an extraordinary example of blamelessness in life and every action, as well as of perfection in all his works, insomuch that he might be considered by us to be of a nature rather divine than human, and as the supreme reality perceived that in the execution of all these sublime arts, painting, sculpture, and architecture, the Tuscan genius has ever been raised high above all others. The men of that country display more zeal and study and more constancy in labour than any other people in Italy. So did he resolve to confer the privilege of his birth on Florence, as worthy above all other cities to be his country, and as justly meriting that the perfections of every art should be exhibited to the world by means of one who should be her citizen.
Nice.
And the winner for the longest sentence in history goes to Giorgio Vasari,
Yep.
who there in the ultimate chapter of his Lives of the Artists,
Yeah.
the whole point
Yeah.
of writing the lives of the artists from Vasari's perspective was to introduce us to the man who will be the subject of the next God knows how many episodes. So you can all shut the fuck up about we're sick of the Crusades. Can you get back to art?
Right. Yeah.
The painter, the sculptor, the architect, the closeted homosexual known as Michelangelo Buonarroti, or, as Vasari and his father called him,
Right.
Michelangelo Buonarroti. Michelangelo.
Angelo?
Welcome to the Renaissance.
Oh, okay.
Mickey the Angel.
Mickey.
Episode 223, Michelangelo, Part 1.
Nice. Well, I think Vasari, he talked to his marketing department and said, you got to go out big. When you get to the end of the book, you got to go big. There's no, so could you come up with something? And obviously he did. And I'm glad you prefaced it like that, because at first I'm like, I don't know why Cam is introducing me. Everybody already knows who I am. And then it made more sense when you got to. So how are you doing today, Cam? Are you
Good.
Are you not inspired?
Tell everybody about your week.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, I had just come off, was it a 2-week? And don't take this the wrong way. I had just come off a 2-week absence of you-ness, of Camness, of rubbing body parts with Cam, and getting ready to go back to work. And Saturday. So 5 days.
Worked.
5 days.
Inverted commas. Inverted commas. There, yeah.
So 5 days, whatever Saturday, with this last Saturday, I started feeling a little, in my throat. And Sunday, full blown COVID, baby. If you're going to do it like Vasari, do it big. Heather had to take Sophie to a local clinic. They did whatever they did. We paid our money, and as a bonus, someone there gave us COVID. So Heather and Sophie bring the COVID home to me. I give it to Kiki. She ignores it because she's just too fucking busy for that kind of thing. And the three of us, me, Heather, and Sophie, have just been laying around the house acting like the world's biggest fucking babies, indulging almost everything, and just laying around and pissing and whining, which is why Kiki hasn't been here all week, because she can't stand us. Anyways, I've been suffering tremendously. So for all of you ill wishers, congratulations. The voodoo doll worked, whatever. My ex-wife, I don't know. But yeah, it's been a hell of a week, and I'm almost there. I'm almost back up to my normal 35%. Go ahead.
Yeah. Is Kiki shacked up with a boyfriend? Is that where she's gone?
She's shacked up with someone's, probably. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't care at this point. Just go, don't get this.
Yeah.
Go. She said, okay, Dad. So
don't get pregnant, whatever. I don't care. Just don't get this. Yeah. I think you just came up with any excuse to do even less work than you normally do.
Right.
I'm not buying this whole COVID story at all.
Well, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. I could send you pictures of the test strips, but those could be easily faked. So you're going to have to take my word for
GPT.
it. You're going to have to take my word for it. And I guess as one more offer of proof, judge my work tonight and tell me if it's less than normal. No, that's satisfying.
So,
yeah.
Back to Michelangelo. Michelangelo. Vasari, writing in mid-16th century Tuscan, Michelangelo was the period spelling of Michelangelo.
Right.
It would have sounded to modern ears like Michelangelo instead of Michelangelo, as we tend to pronounce it, or Michelangelo. Anyway.
Right.
Vasari says that he was given that name when he was born because, quote, inspired by some influence from above, the father thought he perceived something celestial and divine in him beyond what is usual with mortals, as was indeed afterwards inferred from the constellations of his nativity, Mercury and Venus exhibiting a friendly aspect and being in the second house of Jupiter, which proved that his works of art, whether as conceived in the spirit or performed by hand, would be admirable and stupendous.
Nice. I do have to ask, and again, whatever, this is my 29% instead of my 35%. I'm sure you ran across the family story about Michelangelo's mother being almost horribly injured when she was pregnant with young Michael. When she was dragged by her horse for a ways, and yet she and the baby were unharmed, again, probably preserved by God. I don't know. What do you think of? Is that just another testament to how God was looking out for this young man?
Yeah, she was pregnant, fell off a horse, was dragged behind the horse for quite a long way, and she and the baby both fine. And so, yes, he was supposedly divinely protected or something. I'll get into some of those stories, but I wanted to point out that Vasari and Michelangelo knew each other. Vasari was a contemporary.
Yes.
A major fan of Michelangelo.
Mm-hmm.
And Michelangelo was the crux of his Lives of the Artist, as I said earlier. Not the last chapter, as you suggested.
Right.
He's sort of midway through book 5. But, well, not midway, later than midway. But he was the only living artist that Vasari wrote about. And, you know, we've talked a lot on this show over the years about how artists during the Renaissance were perceived as working schmoes, really. I mean, it was the beginning of the artist as a quasi-celebrity.
Right.
But really, yeah, you were a guy, I pay you to do a job, you do the job.
Get the fuck out.
But it was starting to change with Da Vinci. He had a certain level of renown. Guys before him, like you had Botticelli, and guys like that had a certain level of renown.
Right.
As well, those guys are pretty good for a working for a
For
plumber.
you're
They're pretty good.
You dress
You
well.
want a great plumber. You
dress
you go
great
to
for a plumber.
Mario.
Right.
Yeah. They were the Mario and Luigi of the plumbers.
Exactly.
Michelangelo, though, was pretty much a rock star for most of his life. He's a little bit younger than Da Vinci.
Mm-hmm.
So Da Vinci is around when Michelangelo. We talked about them having to paint side by side in our Da Vinci episode.
Yeah.
But Michelangelo is a rock star pretty much from early on in his career.
Yeah.
And by the time Vasari's writing about him, quite late in Michelangelo's life, he is absolutely, in terms of anyone who knows art, he is the Bob Dylan of the art scene.
Right.
He's a genuine rock star who's been around forever and is just greatly admired, particularly by fans of art. The two met in person. Vasari worked on projects in Florence that Michelangelo was connected to, but they weren't friends.
Right.
They didn't go drinking wine and hitting hookah bars together, probably because Michelangelo was closeted.
Right.
Don't know about Vasari.
Right.
But their relationship was more mentor, hero, fan, idol.
Yeah.
Like us.
That's exactly the words I was going to use.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You were probably going to argue over who was who, but
it doesn't matter who.
we
Let's
were both
not
on the same
let's
page.
not
No,
go.
Let's not get into that. It doesn't matter.
Could I go ahead?
So Vasari, when he's writing this biography, we have two contemporary biographies of Michelangelo. And they're both very, very flattery.
Right.
As you would expect.
Yeah.
In fact, Michelangelo, even though Vasari flattered the fuck out of him, later on glazed him, as the kids would say today.
I like that.
By the time Vasari published the first edition of Lives of the Most Excellent Painters, Sculptors, and Architects in 1550, Michelangelo was a living legend, and Vasari revered him to the point of worship. He calls him Il Divino Michelangelo, the divine Michelangelo.
Right.
But Michelangelo wasn't happy with Vasari's first edition, the way he depicted him.
Right.
He was like, it's all right, but, you could have done
tweaking.
better.
Some tweaking. I see room for improvement.
I could have been more divine.
More glowy. More halo-y.
So he had one of his pupils write a separate standalone biography.
Right.
To correct the errors in Vasari's work. And then Vasari rewrote his own chapter on Michelangelo for the second edition in 1568.
It made it even.
So that's, big balls when this guy is already worshipping and you're like,
did you suck harder?
I need you to worship.
Right.
Yeah, I need you to worship harder.
Right. Harder. Well, could I just say real quick? I'm glad that you use the, oh my God, again, my COVID brain. Who's the musical artist? Dylan, that you just mentioned a second ago. I was going to go with Michael Jackson because some of the greatest works that this guy's known for is like in his early 20s, and he's still going to live another, 50 years or whatever the heck it is. So not only is he a rock star, but he did some amazing stuff at a very young age, and is going to go on and do some other stuff. And so the legend just builds. And so, I'm sure when he did see Vasari's, let's call it first pass at a biography, he's like, I see room for improvement. So why don't you go back and do it? No, never mind. I'll have my people do it. Is that
Dylan was famous in his early 20s too, right?
Oh,
like
no, I'm
how many roads must a man walk down?
Yeah, but was he like
before you can call him a man?
That's good. That was
he was.
But was he like Michael Jackson, like 8 years old, singing on stage with in front? I don't know about anything.
Not eight. No,
but you
get
the point.
Would have been funny if he was. If he had this 8-year-old kid comes
before
out and goes,
puberty.
How many roads must a man walk? And people are like, what the fuck is wrong with that kid?
What's wrong with his voice? Is that puberty? Is that post-pubescent? Oh my God. Someone help that kid. Anyway, no, but if
He had like he was smoking some weed. Do you know it was Bob Dylan that introduced the Beatles to weed?
I think I did. I think you told me that. Yeah. Yeah. Thank
Great.
you. You know who introduced us to Marijuana, Mary Jane, 411, whatever? Our own podcast. I didn't do anything until we started researching. Anyways, that's a whole.
And then I told you got to start eating gummies, man.
And I listened.
You're working too hard. I said, Ray, you need to chill out more. Yeah.
But if you live to be 70 or 80 or whatever, and you did incredible things at age 21, and you're still doing incredible things, I mean, and you're human, how does the ego not grow over time? I mean, so again, and I'm sure we're going to go into this, but I guess for some of it, for Michelangelo, it's not just ego. He's a man on a mission, because as we're going to see, one, he was supposed to be the breadwinner for the family because his older brother got kicked to the church, but as he believes that he descends from nobility, it's his job to move the family name that much more forward. So he was driven. He had a purpose. Yes, he loved art, but he was a man on a mission, and he saw it as his duty to do this very thing. So maybe he had a very healthy ego for a good reason.
His duty. I was on AliExpress last night looking for like Birkenstock type sandals because my Birkenstocks are falling apart and I can't afford new Birkenstocks.
Right.
So I was looking at Birkenstock knockoffs, and I saw these ones being advertised as comfortable as stepping on shit was the tagline.
That's pretty comfortable.
And I was like, I threw it into an image of it into GPT, and I said, "Is this an idiom in China?" He goes, well, "Actually, it is." And I threw it into some of the Chinese AIs like Quen, which is Alibaba's own AI,
Right.
and it confirmed it.
Oh wow!
Apparently, there is an idiom in China is like it's as comfortable as stepping on poop,
Right,
or mud. That's a known thing. It's as comfortable as stepping on something soft and squishy. But they translated it and said it's as comfortable as stepping on shit.
Hey, whatever works. Yeah.
I thought I gotta try those.
Well,
that sounds great.
Let's see how many times we can work that into the show tonight. It's as comfortable as stepping in shit. Or, we'll just see if it fits. If it works, we'll get it going.